Welcome guys to DIY Food Plot Pro. We are getting ready to go shed hunt. I'm going to get the girls out and we are going to scour these woods. It's mid-March. We're going to see if we can find some sheds, so be looking for that video. Today we are going to be talking about the easiest plot that you can possibly plant for whitetails, okay? It's super easy. It's got a decent pool. It's a ground builder. It's cheap. No equipment is needed. I like it best planted with other crops. Does anybody have a guess what it might be? Well, nobody's gonna know if you got the answer right or not except you. So if you're gonna get the answer right, pat yourself on the back. It's winter wheat. Winter wheat is extremely easy, okay? It is the easiest plot to plant for any of our food plots. Management level is almost non-existent. There's no management whatsoever while it's growing. Put the fertilizer down, get the seed in the ground before rain, and you are good to go, okay? So let's talk about winter wheat. Other than its easiness, what else does it do? It has a decent pull, in my opinion, especially if you're not in big winter wheat country, okay? Winter wheat, if you're not familiar with it, you plant it usually around the first frost date. Now, I didn't say the first freeze date, the first frost date. So for us, we're looking at middle October, early October, somewhere in there. Our first average frost day is October 15th. So I'm looking from October 1st to October 15th of planting. What I'm going to do with wheat, you can plant this with equipment or you can plant it without it. That's the very best part of wheat. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do both later on in the video. Okay, it is a ground builder. If you have poor ground, wheat is absolutely a ground builder. It's quality. It's really good. It gives your food plots ground cover. So in the winter time, your soil's not going to wash as bad if it has something on top of it. Winter wheat is really good at stabilizing the ground, okay? It's cheap. Winter wheat is extremely cheap as compared to a lot of the other plots. It's probably the cheapest one. What I like to plant is 100 to 150 pounds per acre. So that's 2 to 3 bushel roughly of wheat per acre. And if you're in high density zones, I definitely would bump that up to the high rate. And if you're in the lower one, you might pull back some. Also, that's going to depend on the size of your plot. Don't plant it in a tiny little spot or they will graze it down. It's fairly graze tolerant, especially when you're going to put the fertilizer on that I'm telling you to put, which is nitrogen. That's what you need to put down. You don't need a lot. You need 20 to 30 pounds of nitrogen applied in the fall, okay? That's just going to help your wheat stay dark green. When they graze it down, it's going to come back, okay? And every time that it gets real cold, it's just going to sit there. But then when it gets above 65, 70 degrees, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing it turn dark green and it's going to start growing again. The deer are going to have something all winter long to graze on, okay? So medium to small plots are okay. Let's stay away from those little bitty tiny kill plots, okay? Let's not put wheat in that area. Another good thing with wheat is a lot of the crops the plots that we have, we might not be able to plant something like corn or brassicas where you're going to have some growth in the summer because of tree sap. What is tree sap? It's around the edges of the field where you planting right next to a tree. It's got gigantic roots that go out and it really sucks all the fertilizer and all the water off that area, and your crops don't do very well right there. Well, the beauty part of winter wheat is during that time of the year, the timber's not actively growing, okay? So tree sap is non-existent in wheat, okay? So actually the edges of your field can actually be some of the best wheat. Don't be nervous about planting it right up next to a tree with your winter wheat. It'll be fine. So that's one really big benefit of wheat. Okay, let's talk about how do we plant with equipment. Okay, if I'm going to plant with equipment, I got two options, okay? I can either go out there and I can disc, which is hard on your ground. You think you're loosening your ground up, what you're actually doing is packing the crap out of your ground, which is going to give you trouble later on down the road, okay? What I prefer to do with wheat, I would go out there a month to 6 weeks before planting. Okay, so what, sometime 1st of September roughly for us. And I'm gonna spray it with Gly, okay? And I'm gonna kill it all down. I'm gonna get it dying while we still have some warm, hot days, okay? And then likely you're gonna have a little bit of regrowth, but at that point at the end of the season, mid-October, you're not gonna have a lot. And then you're just gonna be able to take your disc and you're just gonna disc it one time. That's all you need. Just work it up a little bit. You don't have to have this stuff into powder by any means at all. Spread your 100 to 150 pounds per acre of wheat seed out there, and then disc it one more time, and you are good to go. You're fine. Absolutely good. You get a little rain. If you've got soil in your moisture, you don't even need the rain. It's going to germ right up. You're going to have a good quality food plot for your whitetails in the wintertime and in the fall for sure. So if you don't have equipment, what do I recommend? I have done this more times than what I've done the first, okay? What I like to do, go out there and spray it. You have to have seed to soil contact. Please don't try to plant this in 4 or 5 foot tall grass with no seed to soil contact. It's not going to work, okay? Seed to soil contact is absolutely critical. What do I mean by that? If I throw this wheat seed right on top of these leaves, it's likely not going to do well. But if I get those leaves out of the way and it's touching the soil, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. Okay, so what I like to do, once again, I like to spray. If it's not an ag field or a plot like that, I like to spray. Go out there and spray it around the 1st of September, 4 to 6 weeks before you're going to plant. Give that stuff time to kill down. And then what you're looking at is you're going out there, but what I like to do before a big rain event, I like a big rain event for this when I do this, okay? I'm looking for something along, I either want the ground to be fairly wet already, or I'm looking for an inch or more is what I'm looking for. Anytime in that 1st of October to 15th October phase. When I get that storm coming, and I know she's coming, and everybody's calling for an inch and a half of rain, I'm going out there and I'm gonna sow a little heavy though. I'm gonna stay on the high end of the rate, 150. It might even bump to 180, which would be 3 bushel, okay? So I'm going to put this on the high end because I know I'm not gonna get as good a stand, and I'm gonna make sure that I get good seed to soil contact with that. And how you do that is making sure that ground's sprayed and it's bare when you go in. It don't have to be completely bare, but it doesn't need to have 4 foot of grass on top of it and you're trying to broadcast wheat in. Go out there and broadcast it on out right for a heavy rain. The rain's gonna come if you have good seed to soil contact and you have a couple, 3 days of cloud, mild temperature. That's not what you don't really want to do is plant this stuff and then have 95-degree temperature coming, which is not common in mid-October, but it happens. Don't try to plant this stuff right before rain when you have severe heat and a lot of dry days coming behind you. The most ideal conditions for germination on top of the ground is going to be heavy rain or good rain, and then you're looking at cloudy, rainy, dreary days the next 2 or 3 days. Wheat does not take long to sprout. It's going to be up like that. So what you're looking at is when you get that rain, it's going to push it down into the ground, and then it's just going to need to stay moist until that seed gets established. It won't take it long. So that's what I like to do. So you don't need equipment. I have done that hundreds of times on, there's no telling how many times a year I do that. I do it the same way every year, and I've never had a failed food plot on it. Now, am I saying that wheat is the very best crop to plant? I'm not, okay? I like wheat. I think wheat's good. I think it stays green all year. Put that 20 to 30 pounds of nitrogen in there with it, and refer to your P and K for your soil test. You don't have to have super high. You don't need to be terribly low either. Let's get your ground ready for the following year. Put some fertilizer on this stuff and make sure you put your 20 to 30 pounds. It's going to grow throughout the whole year, all winter. It's going to be dark green, and you're going to find a lot of whitetails are using it. But I don't like wheat by itself, okay, for us. If that's all you have, okay, all right. But if I have equipment and I can get my other plots in, I like wheat a lot better with a combo crop. And I'm going to have a whole video segment on combo crops, but I like combo crops a lot better than I like just one plot. Even if that's the most preferred food source, corn, alfalfa, beans, I still like to have multiple things out there in the woods or in that food plot for those deer, okay? So I like planting wheat, but I like planting wheat with corn. I like planting wheat with brassicas. I like having multiple things in those plots. Now, if you're not in ag country, which many of you may not be, wheat may be a big enough pull for you by itself. I don't recommend it. I would much rather have more things in there than just wheat. In my area, we're in heavy ag country. We have a lot of woods as well. We're about 50-50. 50% of our ground is woods, 50% is ag, okay? We do raise a lot of winter wheat around here, and I'm telling you right now, it has a very good pull, especially in January, February, early March. If you find a wheat field around some woods, you are going to find a freaking pile of deer, and they like wheat and they're on it, okay? So if you have found this video helpful, please help hit the like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what you'd like to see. And this has been winter wheat. We've got a lot more coming out. I've got a ton of content on my notepad to come out, and I'm just trying to cover as many as I can in as quick a time as I can to get y'all as much information as you can to be able to raise these plots successfully next year and have some great hunting. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and y'all have a great day.